Om Bhairavaya Namaha. Om Kamakhya Namaha. Om Hingulambikaya Namaha. Om Kalakalaya Vidmahim Kalatitaya Dhimahi Tannah Kāmeśvara Prachodayāt. Om Hingule Paramahingule Amritarupini Tanushakti Manashve Shri Hingulaya Namaha. Namaskaram. Welcome to yet another video of our Ishtartha Guru Bhairava. In this episode, today we are going to talk about the last Swarupa of the Bhairava, Dashamaha Bhairavas. It's Kāmeśvara Bhairava. As name indicates, Kāmeśvara Bhairava, there is a lot of traditions actually which has been already spoken about this Kāmeśvara Bhairava. Especially in the esoterically, if you see in Śrī Shakta traditions, when it comes to Kāmeśvara Bhairava, it has been highlighted that Shiva himself actually was being represented or portrayed as Kameshwara. Shiva himself was a Kameshwara. And who actually named him as a Kāmeśvara Bhairava? Maybe we'll try to understand in this episode now. But when it comes to, there are other aspects when it comes to Kashmiri Shaivism. Kāmeśvara Bhairava is actually called as basically it is about Advaita, okay, and basically Shiva Sutras, as well as we can call it as like Spanda, Karikas, all these things actually come into the picture. Tantra Loka, especially which is written from Kashmiri Shaivism, Abhinava Gupta, all these things actually come from the Shiva Sutras. There is a certain connection which has been said about Kāmeśvara Bhairava. All of them are connected to, we can call it as Sattvika Swarupa. As always said, when it comes to the Tantra, it doesn't mean that actually it has only one phase of, when it comes to the Tantra, one phase where people only talk about like left hand tradition, or people also will tell that actually it is like for Vashikarana, or it has been like misconceptualized when it comes to the word Tantra. Ideally, it is like Trigunas, as always been said in all the videos. It is always any kind of a consciousness, any kind of a swarupa, any kind of actually the lineage, we can call it as, okay. Majorly Tantra lineage is actually like Shaiva Tantra, we can call it as Shakta Tantra, Buddhist Tantra, Ganapatya, as well as there is something called as an local, or we can call it as Tantra streams, like we can call it as Baula, Shayaji, which is highly focused in the Bengal, Natha Sampradaya, and even we can call it as Nivara Tantra, which is highly practiced in the Nepal. Basically in all these things, it is not one side of the Devi or Bhagavan is being shown. It is always that they are in three different Swarupas: Sattvika, Tamasika and Rajasika. And when it comes to the Kamakhya, always it is being said, when it is esoterically, if you see, it comes in a Shakta tradition. In Shakta tradition, Shakta tradition, especially in Shakta tradition, when it comes to the Śrī Tantra Sadhana. Again, Śrī Tantra Sadhana, people has misconceptualized that it is completely a Vama Marga. No, it is actually, we can call it as Dakshina Marga, which is worshipped to the Lalitā Tripurasundarī. And even there is a certain esoteric stories which has been conveyed that when it comes to the Tantra Sadhana, when the Shri Chakra has been visualized and performed as a puja, as Kamakhya, the whatever we call it as Shri Vidya Tantra is also be completed. It is basically Dakshina Marga. Dakshina Marga is like a South Indian tradition. We can call it as Dakshina means South. Okay, so South Indian tradition, and which is also called as like Uttarayana Marga. Uttarayana Marga is somewhat like connected to the we can call it as Kashmiri Shaivism. Okay, basically the Devi will be connected as a highest potent when it comes to the Aradhana. And in Shakta only there is one more when it comes to the window of only about Kali as well as Bhairava. It is basically it is not about any kind of a Dashamaha Vidyas. Yes, in Shakta Dashamaha Vidyas will come into, but when it comes to the Kali as well as a Bhairava tradition, we call it as a Vamachara. Vamachara is somewhat like when someone esoterically do the Aradhana of the Devi or the Bhagavan Bhairava only from a we can call it as it is not Satvika, it is Tamasika and Rajasika more. Tamasika as name represent it is a black. Okay. So ideally what happens is in Vamachara, it is highly represented as a left hand sadhana. It is a transformative practice. Let me also tell you, this is a highly quick transformative practice which when it comes to the Aradhana or a sadhana paddhati. Yes, the complete sadhana paddhati revolves around the Dashamahavidyas. Deities like Kalima and Tarama, Chinnamastama as well as Bhairavima. Why only these four? Very transformatively, very hardcore sadhakas, actually we can call it as, this is connected to the cremation. Few of them actually are connected to the cremation ground sadhanas. And yes, when it comes to the Vamachara, it cannot be done in the home rituals. It has to be performed in the cremation ground, certain things, forest especially, and सुनसान जगह, जो भी हम बताते हैं ना कि सुनसान जगह में करना पड़ेगा. ऐसे सुनसान जगह में करने से क्या होगा? Basically, the different types of entities will get activated. So that is the reason we always tell Vamachara has to be performed and has to be known only through the Guru Paddhati. It is not that actually you read it somewhere from online and you try to practice it. No, it is not the way. Highly founded in West Bengal, Assam as well as in Nepal. Even actively they will till date it is being practiced. One of the very famous when it comes to the Shakta Tantra is about Kamakhya. Okay, it is called Kamakhya Tantra. Entire Tantra scripture or a process revolves around only Kamakhya. It is about the Yoni Pita, how exactly the Ma takes and center of the seat, and how exactly her puja is being done in both the margas, left hand marga as well as right hand, Dakshina marga and Vamachara marga. Here what we need to understand is, till dated many of the sadhakas do a active participation. This is called Jagrata Sadhana. Kamakhya sadhana is called Jagrata Sadhana because till dated, if you see, it is being considered as one of an active Shakti Pita. Till dated, all the tantrics normally go to the Kamakhya such that actually the siddhis can be gained. Siddhis doesn't mean that actually, as I told you, it doesn't mean that actually bringing some eternal entities into some actions or something which is really picturesquely being shown in the movies. No, it is about actually taking the control of the five senses. That's what the five siddhis basically stands for. Yes, there are different levels of siddhis when we been talking, but that doesn't mean that actually it doesn't present. But ideally it has been misconceptuated. Reason is the pick of the information which is always been done in the very short information from here, from the text, and ideally they will see that actually and they understand as if that is what the final is all about. No, Tantra is not that. Buddhist Tantra, ideally it is Vajrayana, and Vajrayana is actually we can call it as a Mahayana Tantra. Mahayana Tantra is later like followed completely indated. Till dated it has been followed in the Tibet, Nepal, Mongolia, both. it is about the Shakta. And when it comes to the Kalima as well as Bhairava, till dated they follow this particular practice. They do something called Devata Yoga or the deity yoga, or it is like same like Panchamakaras, whatever is being performed when it comes to the Sri Vidya as well as Kali Bhairava or Kamakhya Tantra, Shri Vidya Tantras. Similarly, here also mantras, mudras also plays very vital role. When it comes to the word Tantra, let's understand very basically, it is about 3 different stages: Tantra, Mantra, Yantra. First is actually you cannot step into the Tantra unless you have something called as a mantra. And once the mantra is Jagrata, the same thing of actions can be performed through the yantras. And once the yantra is completely activated and the process connection between the devatas through the yantras and the mantras is nothing but Tantra. See, there are many other streams also like Baula, we can call it as Shahajya when it comes to the Bengali, Natha Sampradaya, Nivara Tantras, as I already told. But here, why we are speaking about Kāmeśvara Bhairava? See, Kāmeśvara Bhairava is being spoken in many of the tradition of this. We should not get confused when it comes to the Kāmeśvara Swarupa. But there are very 2 esoteric stories which is connected to Kāmeśvara Bhairava and very prominently been articulated in the mythology when it comes to who had told him as Kāmeśvara Bhairava. Ideally, first let's understand manifestation of Kāmeśvara Bhairava. As this is a Dashamaha Bhairava series which we are trying to understand Bhairava Swarupa. In Bhairava Swarupa, Sri Vidya is one of a very prominent when it comes to as we all know, Sri Vidya traditions. Here, Kāmeśvara Bhairava is reversed as a supreme form. We can call it as the highest form of Shiva, Paraśiva. And it is like considered as the eternal consort of Adi Parāśakti Mahā, only complete Adi Parāśakti Mahā, Lalitā Tripurasundarī. Here, what we need to understand here is the 2 inseparate, different only in the name and one in the essence. So we need to understand it's not a separate, okay? It's not it may be difference in the name, but it is the essence is one. You may be thinking that it is a Kāmeśvara Shiva or a Kāmeśvara Shiva Swarupa or Bhairava Swarupa. When we talk about Shiva, again, many times I have told, when Shiva is in the Rudra Avatara, or Shiva when he comes and out of his Shanta Swarupa, he is Bhairava. Okay? When he is a Satvika, he is Shiva Guna, he is a Paramashiva. So Shiva is the same, we can call it as one in consciousness, but different in names. Here, one information which I would like to share is about, according to the Bhairava Tantra, it is like he is also been shown or written as, we can call it as Panchavaktra Bhairava. Hope you have already seen the Panchavaktra Bhairava series. In Panchavaktra Bhairava series, 5 heads of the Shivas there. It all are connected. As I told you, most of the mythological stories connect to the one dot. What we need to understand is, especially which storyline, normally if you go through the connecting the factors, you will not be able to understand. Even when it comes to the Rudramalaya Tantra, Vishnu Tantra, and even the Brahmamalaya Tantra, all these shastras tell that Kāmeśvara, it only tells about Kāmeśvara and Kāmeśvarī. It doesn't completely gives a connection between whether it is a Bhairava Swarupa or it is a Shiva Swarupa. But the question of the concept is like, it is actually written in Sri Mahavidyas, how exactly Bhairava Shiva was being named as Kāmeśvara Bhairava. This is actually comes in a connection with Hayagriva Rishi. It starts like the mantra starts with the Hayagriva Rishi, because whatever I am trying to convey this message, this is actually like connected in the Bala Tripurasundarī Sahasranama Stotra. Rudramalaya Tantra actually, Bala Tripurasundarī Kadambam is actually where Devi Swarupa is being named, where actually the Kāmeśvara Bhairava names comes into a picture. It starts like Shri Hayagriva Maharushihe. It is none other than Vishnu himself in a Hayagriva Swarupa. You know that actually Vishnu, as the greatest knowledge content, he took the Swarupa of the horse, the horse face, which has been considered as the Guru of Saraswati. Even for the Saraswati, he was a Guru. Whatever the Saraswati, we know that actually Saraswati being the Devata or the goddesses of the knowledge, education, spiritual knowledge. It may be like self-awareness, all these things, any Guhyas, Vidyas, anything, Saraswati Ma comes into a picture. Neela Saraswati. That is the reason Tarama has also been considered as Saraswati here. But ideally what we need to understand is, for all these Swarupas, there is one particular Guru, and that is Vishnu, Mahavishnu. And for the Vishnu, it is Hayagriva Swarupa himself trying to tell this information. Okay, so we need to be very happy that where exactly this storyline is getting connected. In Sri Mahavidya, Hayagriva Maharishi conveys this message. Narrating this episode, the particular mantra, he tells that the eternal principles, as well as the neither a woman or nor the men alone is distant to the rules, according to the, we call it as a Shruti. Okay, there are two things, Shruti and Smriti. And when it comes to Shruti, it is like resting upon the union. So basically, and guiding the noble rector and joining the weblock, we can call it as weblock. When Ma Tripurasundarī was about to, she was so beautiful, when the complete Dasha, we can call it as in the final Swarupa of Shri Mahavidya, when it comes to Kāmeśvara, none of the devatas was able to identify who actually can get her as a consort. So woman suited, agreeable, the mantra goes in such a way that actually she is so adorable and she is so beautiful. Every devata started thinking that actually who could be able to consume or even able to get merged into the Mahashakti energy there. And there was one particular doubt. Brahma wondered, like, like when all the stories comes, all the three devas comes into picture. Vishnu, when he is conveying this particular message, entire Devata Ganas actually started telling that it is only Shiva who will be able to observe Ma in this particular Kāmeśvarī Swarupini. She being a Kāmeśvarī, she is like so esoteric, so beautiful, so elegant, whatever the word we can call it, praise today's into the woman, it is like not even a 1 drop of percent we can exaggerate about the Devi Ma, because she is like being considered as Rati. It has been said that actually Rati Ma, like Kāmeśvara and Kama and Rati. Rati Ma, if you put across like crores of Rati Mas together, that 1% blink was about Kāmeśvarī Ma. Such beautiful was Ma Tripurasundarī. That is the reason when it comes to Sri Mahavidya, Maha Tripurasundarī has been considered as ultimate beautiful in entire creation. So beautiful. And when she was being came into an existence, entire Devaloka was in a big confusion. Who is the right consort who can hold Ma into him? Every devatas were trying to point out Shiva. Like on most of the stories, Brahma actually come into picture. Brahma actually would Lalita accept the Shiva as her husband? This was his first question, because after all Shiva is an Basmuddara. You know that actually Shiva, when it comes to the about even the marriage ceremony, when it comes to the Bhairava, Shiva, when it comes to the Parvati, he had put all the ashes on his body, and entire Ganaloka actually came with him to reach to the marriage ceremony. Dwelling in the cremation ground, going with all the, carrying all the skulls beyond what we called as worldly beauties. He was like, such a actually the person, and why Shiva, whether Shiva is capable to even handle, because she is so beautiful. Shiva being like a Smashanavasi, he doesn't even looks beautiful, and basically would she such a what do you call it, like approach please the radiant goddesses what she has come, whether he will be able to please her? This was a question actually Brahma got it. So what we need to understand is Brahma's thought was actually the root of the Kāmeśvara Bhairava Swarupa. Ideally we think that actually one Swarupa is causing why the such kind of a thought really erupted in the Brahma's mind. Let me just tell you, every action in the mythology has created one particular outcome of it, which is a beautifully been narrated from our Rishi Munis. But when it comes to the lineage, again I always tell, when it comes to the Bhairava consciousness, never go into the lineage or the connection between that he is a father, he is a mother, and how exactly he is connected, why he is called, being so called as in Shiva, and why he is called as in Paraśiva, why Bhairava. Again, as always told, we as a human plays a vital different roles in a family. When we are at the home, we play as an husband, or we play as a son, we play as a brother, we play as an actually like elder sister, daughter, son. When it comes to the outside, we act as a neighbor, we act as a citizen of the state, country. These are the different roles as a single person carries. Do you think that actually same thing actually cannot be done when it comes to the Daiva Swarupa? This is what it is. Every Swarupas has a different reflection, and one of a reflection is Bhairava consciousness, or we can call it as Bhairava Tattva. His core form is actually Bhairava, because most of the time Shiva is in Tamasika and Rajasika Swarupa. Shanta Swarupa is being shown, yes, in not every time, because his guna is only destruction, creation and sustenance. And when it comes to the destruction, Shiva holds that portfolio, and when it is when he holds such kind of a portfolio, he is Rudra, he is Bhairava. And especially when it comes to the back to the story, when Brahma got this particular thought that why exactly such kind of beautiful woman is being represented, why Haigriva, Vishnu telling that actually Shiva is the right consort for the Mahā Tripurasundarī. This thought triggered in a very beautiful way. It is like a revelation of the Kāmeśvara. When Brahma uttered, or we can call it as pondered, that particular word, that actually he being a Smashanavasi, putting his ashes, coming like a, bringing all his ganas, putting skull, sitting on the bull, and coming like a raw man, like Aghori. Shiva himself appeared in that particular assembly, dazzling like an entire like a 10,000 suns together. One sun, again, it is not the what we currently in the Mrityuloka, what the sun we see it. It has been said that actually entire cosmos, whatever we have it, it is one particular sun which has been governed. Such like that, 10,000 suns, vibrant energy was Shiva's appearance. No longer into the, what we call it as ascetic, putting the Bhasma Veshi. He manifested like in such a way as a radiant of the fire, as a radiant of it, so beautifully he was like 10 millions of the suns, or we can call it as trillions of Kamadevatas, god of love, were merged together. Such was a beauty about the Shiva at that given point of time. It was like adorned with heavenly garlands. She was wearing garlands like till dated devatas had never seen such kind of a garlands. The fragrance was so beautiful. It was a divine scent he had applied that actually even devatas became mandha. They were not able to understand where is this beautiful fragrance which has been coming out of it. It was like his crown of jewels which was being worn, which is never been seen by any kind of a devatas or never been imagined. Such a beautiful crown he was wearing. He stood in a very embodiment of the irresistible charming. The charmness was so beautiful. Entire Devaloka, even it has been said, Haigriva Swami was not able to express his beauty. He was shot with the words. Such was the beauty of Kameshwara. Brahma, immediately after seeing this particular Swarupa, he proclaimed one particular word, Kāmeśvara Bhairava. Paramashiva as a Kāmeśvara Bhairava, because he being a Bhairava Swarupa, always being in a cremation ground, putting the ashes, he is a Bhairava. And in the Bhairava Guna, when he's been esoterically been irreversible, charming, such kind of millions of Kāmeśvara, millions of Kama, Devata come together in one particular Swarupa, that was one essence. This has been said that even Vishnu in Haigriva Swarupa was, when he was not able to express it, 1% of expression is what been written. So try to understand how beautiful when it comes to the Kāmeśvara Bhairava Swarupa it was. Brahma himself called him as Kāmeśvara Bhairava. It is not only Kāmeśvara, it is Kāmeśvara Bhairava, because he is none other than Shiva himself, Parāśiva himself. Here, he was the first person to be called as Kāmeśvara Bhairava. There is one more beautiful story connected after this, like Devi, the union of Shiva and Shakti. See, all devatas, including the Trimurtis, there is like Shiva. Again, it is not again one particular Shiva. You may be thinking that it is the same person. No, let me actually just tell you. It is one particular of Shakti which has come out, and it is actually a avatara which has been took for one particular cause. All devatas, include Trimurtis, actually escorted the Kāmeśvara Bhairava before the goddesses Kāmeśvarima. When actually overlain with love, it is being said Nila Lohita Shiva. It is like in his Kāmeśvara form, Nila Lohita Shiva is somewhat like so beautiful, and so we can call it as actually so he is like a Chandrabimba. It is a Nila Lohita samudra of beautiful thousands of moons together, the reflections of a moonlights. Gazing upon the Lalitama, when Lalita beheld him, holded his hand, her eyes met him. Shiva actually holded Ma's hand, when actually after holding her hand, when Shiva actually gazed in her eyes, she felt through the Kamadevas himself regaining the form, because Shiva had already done the Bhasma of the you know about the story about that. Kamadevata was being put into the ashes when Shiva opened his third eye. Maha was able to think that Kamadevata has himself regained 10 millions of Kamadevata in one particular Swarupa. And her heart recognized him that he is a perfect, we can call it as counterpart, or we can call it as a consort, Patideva, because her first glance of Kāmeśvara Bhairava was so beautifully being described by Haigriva Natheshwara, Haigriva Rishi. Like both gazed, when they gazed deep into each other, it was bound to be like one of the first something called as a divine love. It is also been one mantra which comes into where the outcome or the essence of that mantra is like, I am forever independent. It is like my play and actions are my own, and my husband conduct must harmonious within me. The mantra tells that how exactly Ma is looking her husband, and what are her expectation as a husband, what he needed to look like. Brahma then turned to the Vishnu, and he immediately says, O Bhagavan, O Hari, you are her brother. She is asking, like, actually, when before she accept Kāmeśvara Bhairava as her consort, she has one particular question, that my planned actions are my own. Like, like every females till dated. This is what actually the beauty of the when it comes to the woman nature. Every woman wants to be independent. Every woman want to conduct the harmonize, that her husband need to make sure that she should be considered as only mine, forever independent. Her knowledge, her actions, her speech, everything should be independent, not be like bounded, that husband tells something, she is no. This is the first information even Ma was able to tell herself in the entire Daiva Guna. Brahma himself told, oh Mahavishnu, Hariye, you being her brother, and according with the dharma, you must offer her hands to Kāmeśvara Shiva. That's where actually, when Shiva gave the Ma promise that actually, whatever you are not only, you are like only the woman, or we can call it as masculine, feminine. You are not just a feminine energy to me. You are going to be half of my life. And that's where the Ardhanarishwara Swarupa came into a picture. He merged her as half of her. Shiva Parvati story also talks about one of the Swarupa when it comes to the Ardhanarishwara. Here also same thing happened. Here Kāmeśvara gave a promise to Kāmeśvara Ma that you are going to be half of me. You are going to take the decisions, whatever you would wish to take. You are being entitled to take whatever the best decision, what you would like to know, and you are independent. Independent is the basic essence of a woman always look forward for, not bandhana, not actually holding her, telling her that actually you are supposed to do this, not supposed to do this. This is what actually even Ma was able to ask. So basically, as we being a Bhairava sadhakas, we need to always ensure that we give a highest respect to women. We give a highest respect to the women, telling that she is none other than Ma Kāmeśvarī herself, going down to her and telling, Ma, if you, whatever the, according to the dharma, whichever is essential, you please take that action. This is what the action even the Brahma was able to do it. And that was next where the divine marriage happened. And according to the scriptures, even the Deva Puranas, it has been said that Lalitā Mahā Tripurasundarī and Kāmeśvara Shiva. And here Lalitā Tripurasundarī is none other than Kāmeśvarī Ma, were united in the marriage, and that what we call it as like the beauty, the capture of the beauty which happened on that particular event. When Kāmeśvara merged Ma Lalitā Tripurasundarī, it has been said that they became one as Kāmeśvarī. And Kāmeśvarī is also a Kāmeshi. It has been said that the Kāmeśvara and Ma Tripurasundarī, once they got into a marriage and once they became one, that particular consciousness is called Kāmeśvarī. That is a Kāmeshi. So from that day onwards, Kāmeśvara or Kāmeśvarī never been said as a different Swarupas. Regained together, they always been considered as one Swarupa, like sole ruler of this entire universe. It is not like actually only Shiva. In a Shaiva Tantra, it has been considered as Shiva as everything. In Shakta, it has been considered as Devi everything. But here, in the Kāmeśvara Bhairava Swarupa, what we can understand is, once their union happened, it is like a only Kāmeśvarī. She was both Kāmeśvara and Ma Lalitā Tripurasundarī. To balance the cosmos, the love and the power got joined. Love of Ma, power of Bhairava, Shiva got merged, and it becomes Kāmeśvarī. So this is one of the beautiful story. And again, let me just tell you, the story is actually of Lalitopākhyāna and Brahmāṇḍa Purāṇa, especially chapter 14 or 15, I don't recall, but in 14 I believe there are certain slokas, set of slokas, 117 slokas, which gives the story of this esoterically, completely whatever we have spoken now. And again, when it comes to this being the first particular connection when it comes to the Swarupa of the Kāmeśvara Bhairava. But again, let us understand there is one more beautiful in the Bhairava Tantra, which is connected to the Kāmeśvara Bhairava. I believe you, Vatsyāyana, you would be knowing the Rishi Vatsyāyana. Vatsyāyana actually, very in a deep forest, actually in the foothills of the Vidhyansa hill, there was a Rishi called as Vatsyāyana. Vatsyāyana is actually Kashyap's son. Kashyap's son. Again, I don't want to tell about the stories. Maybe we will forget about the core story what we need to. Kashyapa Maharishi was able to, when Vatsyāyana was doing a sadhana at the foothills of Vidhyana hills, that is actually foothills of the Vidhyana hills, it has been considered that the tapasvi was very extraordinary. He was like, Vatsyāyana was like considered as the highest potent when it comes to the sages, because Kashyapa Maharishi is like, you know about you know about Narasimha Avatara when it comes to the especially when it comes to the two devatas, Jaya and Vijaya, they took into the Swarupa of the Rakshasa Swarupa, and when they came into an existence, and that particular, his father was Kashyapa Maharishi. Diti is actually her mother, her wife, and the entire Daiva Guna is actually considered as a lineage of Kashyapa. Entire Devata lineage, basically, to put it into a simple words. Let's not go into different channels of stories. Let's understand Kashyapa Maharishi is actually the father of entire Daiva Gana. Okay. So, basically through the well-versed of the Vedas and Agamas, he was very potent and very highly energetic or sage at that given point at time. He was doing a greatest aghora sadhana at that given point of time. His heart was yelling to something beyond word can even express. He was able to understand the Shiva Tattva and Bhairava Tattva, but in a different forms he had understood. Despite the year of hundreds of years of penance, it is not, again, you may be thinking like human 100 years. No. Rishi Munis actually had long lived even for the, we can call it as centuries together they lived it. And even it has been said, certain Rishis actually till dated, they are in the bodily Swarupas. Similar to the Hanuman, or we can other people. Let me actually not get diluted when it comes to the different names. Okay, he was very potent and very receptive sage at that given point of time, trying to know about the Devi, that is actually Shakti as well as a Bhairava Swarupa Guna he want to understand. He saw the Shiva in a vast as well as a formless Swarupa. When it comes to Shakti, it is like a more about the compassion, more about the luminous he was able to understand, but he could not unite them in his heart and understand what is Shiva Shakti, what is Shakti, what is actually Kāmeśvarī, how exactly the Devi as well as Shiva, how the merge of them happened, and how exactly the human, as we as a sages at that given point of time, his thought, how as we as humans can be able to experience the Shiva Guna, Devi Guna at one given point of time. We always see as a separation, as a masculine and feminine, right? This is what actually he bought his agnish, or whatever, his pain of worry, like why I'm able to see them in a two different Swarupas, made a scriptural proclamation that Shiva without the Shakti is a corp, and the Shakti without the Shiva is a moment without the base. Somewhat like Shiva is a Shava without the Shakti, and Shakti is Shakti Hine without Shiva. it happened like actually when he was Kashyapa Rishi was able to tell all these things to the Vatsyayana, and Vatsyayana decided that actually he need to go for a long tapas. That's where actually the tapas started with. I was trying to convey you about the background of the tapas, where it started to. It was in the forest actually. He went and he was actually doing a tapas. Vatsyayana in his dhyana, in complete dhyana avastha, he was able to be his father Kashyapa told that actually he want to take the mantra where actually Devi as well as Shiva himself in a linga swarupa to be done a aradhana, such that actually his complete formation of the swarupa can be seen. This is what actually his father whatever he suggested him, even the Vatsyayana made sure that actually he did the sadhana paddhati in the same steps whatever his father told. In the process of the sadhana, one given day, a radiant and emerging light, like from the inner vision, five-faced Bhairava, Panchavaktra Bhairava came into that Swarupa. As I told you, especially when it comes to the Bhairava Tantra, Bhairava Consciousness, Bhairava Tantra, Kāmeśvara Bhairava has been spoken as Panchavaktra Bhairava with 5 heads. This is what actually he was able to see. 5-headed Bhairava. He was able to come holding the trident, nose, drum, roseberry, skull. We have already spoken about all these things in a Panchavaktra Bhairava, how exactly. When that Swarupa came into an existence, the flame of it and fire actually sparked up, that actually even the Rishi, Vatsyayana, was actually trembled at that given point of time. At the side, immediately the Swarupa, Vatsyayana was able to tell, Bhagavan, I am not able to see in this 5-headed Swarupa. Can I see you in a Saumya Swarupa, where actually I am able to actually understand you much more better? Kāmeśvarī. As I told you in the initial story, Kāmeśvara, once he get merged into Mahā Tripurasundarī, the both connection consciousness is none other than Kāmeśvarī. Kāmeśvarī Tripurasundarī came in the sitting in a throne. She was able to give the darshana to Vatsyayana. Her smile was so soft and moonlight. It has been described in such a way in that particular mantra that millions of moons was radiating so beautifully that her eyes was fussy as well as compassionate. That was actually the swarupa of that particular Daiva. Immediately the sage headed a voice and he prostrated in front of the Devi, Bhairava, because here it is not only one particular Devi, as I told you, Panchavaktra Bhairava as well as Mahā Tripurasundarī. Kāmeśvara, Mahā Tripurasundarī. Once they get into a merge, it is a Kāmeśvarī. And this particular Swarupa, when the Vatsyayana was able to see it, he told one particular word. It is also been said, he is the first Rishi to see the Swarupa of the Bhairava, Kāmeśvara Bhairava. It is like a sovereigns of a desires came into an existence. It is actually the Bhagavan of the entire cosmos of the union. The union, whatever we speak in the worldly things, entire cosmos, the speck of the world what we are living. No, not in that particular going, not even our particular galaxy. Entire cosmos. Such a beautiful was their darshana. He praised, it has been written even in Rudramalaya Tantra as well as in Bhairava Tantra that Kāmeśvara Bhairava beside me is a Kāmeśvarī. He tells that actually I as one particular Swarupa as a Kāmeśvarī is a merge or a oneness of the Shiva and Devi guna particularly. And when the Vatsyayana asked that actually I need to see both into a different Swarupas, that's where actually Kāmeśvara and Kāmeśvarī Ma Lalita Tripurasundarī was able to come into an throne, and they were able to give the darshana to Vatsyayana. And that particular, his desire for not on a bondage, he was able to understand that this is called divine union. It has been said, to realize us, you must actually deny the desire. What? By transmuting into a divine willness, one can actually get into the divine consciousness. And divine is not about the bondage. Okay, it is the fire that leads to the freedom, which Ma always used to look forward for. When offered at the at the lotus feet of Bhairava, he was able to give the Swarupa. So what we need to understand is, when the Bhairava Aradhana is being done, whatever the inner Swarupa which we know we need to look forward for, he will be able to give such kind of a darshana to us. That is the reason we always tell, when it comes to the Bhairava sadhana, do only Moola Nama Smarana. It is going to give you 1,000 folds of results rather than sticking to one particular Swarupa. Coming back to the story, Kāmeśvara Ma actually spoke when on all this when the two different Swarupas, when the Vatsyayana was able to ask, and he was Ma as well as Kāmeśvara Bhairava was able to share. Worshipping is not through the reincarnation of the world. Whatever you see it through that particular Swarupa, if you start doing the Aradhana, we will be forgetting about the essence of it. Seeking all the play, or what will we call it as a Leela, performing the Panchamakara sadhana. That is the reason in the Tantra, Panchamakara has been considered as the highest importance. And why it is esoterically meaning, even in the yantra Swarupa, the Aradhana of the Daiva will be done, not with the Murti or with the photo. No. This is the reason I always tell, when it comes to the Bhairava sadhana, don't get stick to one particular Swarupa of the Bhairava. It is always the yantra. Do Aradhana of the yantra. Because Panchamakara sadhana, when it comes to the future, when it comes to the Tritiya Charana, normally the stages of the Panchamakara actually gets opened up. Indulging, or we can call it as including certain Makaras, Panchamakara sadhana, purity, highest form of purity. Again it is a 3 different phases: Satvika, Tamasika and Rajasika. Most of which actually is being done in the Satvika Swarupa. Tamasika and Rajasika is only done on certain days in the year, not every day. Okay, so residing in the Bhairava consciousness, where duality is dissolved. Kāmeśvara Bhairava has, that's what actually he has told. And where Ma is able to clearly convey, when I and he are one flame. Me means Ma Lalita Tripurasundarī and the Kāmeśvara Bhairava is one. The alone is the liberation everyone would seek for. That is the ultimate liberation. That is the ultimate liberation. Entire even cosmos is waiting for. Union of masculine and the feminine in the Daiva Guna. Again, humanly, please do not think from a humanly nature perspective. This subject, whatever we are trying to understand, is much more than that. You need to see, understand. Shravana need to be done as that actually we are talking about the Creator's creation's beauty. And in the Aradhana of the particular Vatsyayana, he actually did the Aradhana of the Bhairava, that is actually Kāmeśvara Bhairava, in the yantra perspective, and it is being said he is the first Maharushi to ensure that Shri Chakra sadhana is being done. Even in Sri Vidya, the geometrical yantra, whatever we have it, from a Shri Chakra perspective, that has been considered the highest form of yantra sadhana. Till dated, whatever the yantra you are going to see, or whatever the mandala has been created, out of which the greatest yantra on dated, if we have something, it is Shri Chakra. And he was a person to activate that Shri Chakra yantra, and he started performing it. And again, it is also in Devi Purāṇa, which has been written in completely different. In Devi Purāṇa, Devi herself was being taken into the yantra Swarupini as Shri Chakra. Okay, It doesn't mean that actually he was a founder. Vātsyāyana was not the founder. He was able to download that information from the consciousness or from the universe, and he was able to write the particular mandala, and he was able to perform that puja. The first puja for the Shri Chakra was being performed by Vātsyāyana himself. Considering like Kāmeśvara Bhairava, Lalitā Tripurasundarī, the union of them was being considered as a Shri Chakra, and that's where actually the puja was being done. He invoked Kāmeśvara Bhairava at the bindu, at the middle dot bindu. He was able to invoke Bhairava, and Kāmeśvara Tripurasundarī at the Trikona. We call it as Trikona basically, with the mantras from the Rudramalaya Tantra and the hymns of Śrī Bala Tripurasundarī Khadgamala. He began to recite certain mantras. It is been said that he performed the puja of the Shri Chakra yantra for 12 long years. He performed the aradhana 12 long years to make sure that the whatever we call it as Shri Mahavidya. Why it is so profound, so people get so easily get attracted to it, because tapas of Rishi Munis have gone into in such a way. Vātsyāyana performed this particular puja for 12 long years. This is actually the connection between the Nagaloka also. 12 long years. Like it has been said that actually Naga Devatas also supported Vātsyāyana in this particular process. All 14 Loka Devatas, 14 Loka realms was able to actually perform, activate, energize this particular Shri Chakra yantra. That is the reason when it comes to any kind of a Devi or Shiva, what we call it as like Puja Sthala, very vibrant, even the Shakti Pitas, you would be able to find the Shri Chakra there. Why? It doesn't mean that actually one particular Swarupa of the Devi has been represented, one particular of Devata has been represented, whether it is only Shiva, or it is only the form of the Vishnu, or it is the only form of the Lakshmi. Entire cosmos connection was been embedded there, and Shri Chakra yantra was been came into existence, and that was the information Vātsyāyana was able to download, and he was able to perform the puja. He started, it has been said, like once we start performing the yantra puja, especially in the puja pushpam, okay, and there is like he started all like honey, ghee, milk, curd, all this, whatever we call it as the yantra puja. He started performing this in a very beautiful way. He chanted something called as an Panchavaktra Bhairava mantra. There is again, people, whenever I talk about one particular mantra, they always text me or they always write me that actually I want this particular mantra. Let me again clarify everyone that when it comes to the Bhairava Aradhana Sadhana Paddhati, it is always that whoever completes 144 days of Bhairava Moola Mantra are entitled to go into the next stage of Pratamacharana. And Pratamacharana is the Bijakshara Mantra connections which would be given to you, and in that particular invocation, again, no cost has been embedded in all this process of the understanding the Daiva Guna. Pratamacharana, in Pratamacharana again you are supposed to ask for the minimum 1 mandala to 3 mandalas. After this, Rudraksha Dharana will be coming, which would be a Bhairava Kavacha, 8, normally like 8, 11 and 14 Rudraksha Mukhis will be worn, and in different stages. Then comes the Dvitiya Charana, and then comes the Tritiya Charana. In these are the stages which in the Bhairava Anugraha, which we try to offer it to Bhairava's lotus feet. All the information, all the courses, everything is openly being shared in the internet. It doesn't mean that actually we are hiding something. No. This information is shared by him. We are no one to actually hide all this information. It is easily available. You can easily go to our web page and you will be able to get to know more about it. May be the Vinaya Yoga, it may be the Sadhana Paddhati, it may be like what we call it as like Amavasya Sadhana. All these things are clearly openly being shared to everyone. Again, all this information, my suggestion is please ensure that do make sure that 3 mandalas of the sadhana is being completed. Please Do not come and tell that I have been doing the sadhana for last 6 years, 10 years, but still I want to go to the next stage. Whoever steps into the Bhairava Anugraha, it is always 144 days of window which has been considered as prerequisites. So I bow down to you and ask you that please go make sure that actually this information is very well understood in the website. And if you have any doubt, please text us, write us. We will be very, very happy to answer you. And again, all of this is of no monetary benefits has been connected to all this, any of the sadhana paddhati. I'm sorry, let's come back to the story again. When it comes to the Shri Chakra Aradhana, when the Vatsyāyana was able to perform it with all the pushpam, all the naivedyams, when he was able to recite Panchavaktra mantra in the moonlight, when he was able to tell, there was a divine energy which was being spouted out from the chakra. The meditation of the union of Kāmeśvara as well as a Kameshwara was being done. Ardhanarishwara bliss energy was actually got activated. He was like burning away all the impurities in his creation, and he was trying to activate that yantra, that to be like one of the greatest or existence yantra till dated. Even that is the reason this yantra has been considered as a Maha yantra. Shri Chakra yantra has been considered as a Maha yantra because it is not only Satvika, Tamasika, Rajasika, all Swarupas of Aradhana has been done on the Shri Chakra. People only think that Shri Chakra means only the Satvika Swarupa of pouring the milk. Again, let me just tell you, Panchamakara sadhana is also being done on Shri Chakra. And this has not been spoken because people think that actually we are fools to talk about this. Every guna has 3 gunas, Satvika, Tamasika and Rajasika, which is not in your experience, doesn't think that actually it doesn't exist. People especially think that actually when it comes to the Devi, the Kali Aradhana, Tara Adhara or Tripurasundarī Aradhana, all these things they think that actually only Satvika Swarupa, or when it comes to the Rajasika Swarupa Aradhana, all the Swarupas, all actions, Panchamakaras comes into actions. When Vatsyāyana was able to perform his complete dedication on his Ardhanarishwara Swarupa energy, activating with the Panchavaktra mantra in this particular yantra, on exactly on the Navaratri 9th day, in the Navami, the final Argyam was being performed to the yantra, and after that final 9th day Argyam which was being performed, the yantra blazed into the light of cosmic energy. Even like he was trembling, he was able to tremble because in the first Swarupa when Devi as well as Shiva was able to come, but they were able to tell that actually you please perform this particular sadhana, then only I will be able to show you the complete, what we call it as Kāmeśvara Swarupa. And from that 2 different couples emerged because he was able to see always Shiva separate, Devi separate. And once they got into one Swarupa as Kāmeśvarī, he was able to see again that different Swarupas. When this was being asked, the sadhana was being suggested. Finally, after the 9th day Arghya which was being performed, the 2 couples actually splendid out of that Shri Chakra yantra. It is none other than Kāmeśvara Bhairava. It is placed in his hand upon the sage's head, giving a blessing. Instead that the sage consciousness expanded, he no longer saw himself as separate because he became one among the Shiva, he became one among the Kāmeśvara, he became one among the Tripurasundarī, and he beheld the universe as a play of union. It is not that actually separate. The entire cosmos is a play of a union. Every sound, every mantra, every form of the yantra, every form of devata, every form of the creation which is created by the creator is none other than the play of the union. And this is beholds, or this is being governed by only by Kāmeśvara Bhairava and Ma Lalita Tripurasundarī. Here it has been said that actually Kāmeśvara smiled. From this day onwards, Vatsyāyana would be considered that he would be the first person to know about Bhairava consciousness. When we talk about Bhairava consciousness, it's not about the Bhairava himself. Let me just underline all. People think that actually it is only Kala Bhairava, it is Vatuka Bhairava, it is Ashtanga Bhairava, one particular Ashitanga, Chanda, Kapala, Krodha, Unmata, Bhishana, Ruru, Samara. Which particular Bhairava are we talking about? People always get confused. Again, when it comes to the Bhairava consciousness, Ma herself has been told, even to the Vatsyāyana Maharishi, that the entire Bhairava consciousness, where every breath of the mantra, every thought of the offering, every union of the liberation is none other than Bhairava consciousness itself. Because it's a union of Shiva and Shakti. It's a union of Kāmeśvarī and Kāmeśvara. It is a union of Kāmeśvara as well as Ma Lalitā Tripurasundarī. This is what actually we need to understand. Ma herself was able to tell, this is the Bhairava consciousness. We talk about one particular Swarupa. No, this is the supreme consciousness of merging, the ever union of the entire liberation, ever existence. That's where the Bhairava consciousness emerged. The sage composed the hymn of the Kāmeśvara Bhairava. We have the Kāmeśvara Bhairava mantra also. And again, please do not ask that actually what is the mantra and whether I need to recite. Again, I always tell, please perform all these things. Once you have done with certain sadhana paddhatis, automatically one particular swarupa of the Bhairava will be able to open up to you such that actually you can do the aradhana. Please don't dwell or do not find any kind of shortcuts thinking that doing this mantra I'll be able to achieve it. No, there is no shortcuts in sadhana. And sadhana is not about gaining something. Always people have this dilemma that I am able to gain something knowledge. I am able to gain something siddhis. You are supposed to lose. Sadhana is all about losing. If you are only ready to lose, then only you are entitled to come to the sadhana paddhati. So, Bala Tripurasundarī Stotra was also been composed by Vatsyāyana. It has been also said that his teachings was about the true worship, about not to escape from the desires. See, we always have a desire, like I need to achieve this, I need to have this, what is the masculine, feminine, we need to experience the desire. Yes, this is what even the Rishi was able to tell, that never escape from the desire. Escape is somewhat like you are like trying to postpone something, okay? But transforming into the divine love and the bliss is what the desire should be all about. This is what actually the Rishi Vatsyāyana was able to teach us. The desire should be converted. Again, bodily, it's not about the bodily pleasure, it's about the desire not getting escape. Even if you have the desire, you may think that actually, no, I am not going to think like that. Trust me, there is one beautiful story. It is been said that one Buddhist monk was been sitting in one of the village. One woman, actually richest woman, came to him asking him that actually she wants some greatest knowledge to be acquired. She came there actually and she offered him like gold coins and vastra, vaidhurya, everything in front of the Buddhist monk, and she asked him that actually the monk that I want to have one particular mantra which can give me the enlightenment, or we can call it as a transformation, transformate this life. I have everything now, I want ultimately acquire that. He told that it is very easy, it is very simple and very easy. What you need to do is for next 9 days you need to think that white elephant, 3-legged white elephants do not come in your dream, and a fox howling, you should not hear it. And third, you should not see yourself as you are a dump. You are actually asking for a transformation. If 3 things you are not thinking, that 3-legged elephant, the howling wolf, as well as we being or she being the fool. 3 things he was able to tell, and he told that after 9th day, if this is not coming, perform one particular puja aradhana and come back. She was actually always, these 3 things should not come, these 3 things should not come in her puja samaya. Especially on the 9th day when she sat for the puja aradhana, that is what completely her mind was acquired with 3-legged elephants, white 3-legged elephants. Wolf was howling and she was thinking that she was a dump. What is this story telling us is, when we run away from the desire, when we don't know what we need, we always end up with entanglement. So once we repeat something, that is what actually we'll be able to see. There is some desire. Put that desire into the lotus feet of Bhairava, Bhairavima, where they will be able to transform the desire to the divine love and the bliss. And this can happen only in Bhairava consciousness. If we start doing the performing of the Devi Aradhana or the Bhairava Aradhana in the different single Swarupas, of course you will be able to see certain difference. But yes, the progress will be very, very minimal. Here in Dashamaha Bhairavas, what we have understood is, all different Swarupa of the Bhairava is connected to one connection of the Shri, what we call it as Dashamaha Vidyas. That is the reason each Swarupa is connected to one particular Devi Guna. And here in Dashamaha Bhairava, the last one, Kāmeśvara Bhairava, is one of the Mahā Tripurasundarī, because she is being considered as the most beautiful Mahavidya ever been understood, because she is a Tamasika and Rajasika Guna. It has been Satvika Guna also. Three Gunas. See, I have already spoken this in the other videos. Like when it comes to the Kalima, she is actually the form of the Tamasika Guna. Yes, Rajasika, Satvika can also be done. Again, don't get confused. I have told something, people will again come back and tell me that no. Most prominently, she is being considered as Tamasika Guna because she is the Raktapayini. When it comes to Dharama, she is being considered as Rajasika Guna. And when it comes to the Tripurasundarī, it has been considered as Satvika Guna. And again, all these three combination only, the next stages of portfolio always get open. It may be Bhuvaneshwari Ma, it may be Chinnamasta Ma, it may be Bhuvaneshwari, it may be other Swarupas of Mahavidyas. Here what we are trying to understand is, in Dashamaha Bhairava Swarupa, Kāmeśvara Bhairava being the last, he was able to reveal himself that he is the 10th among the Dashamaha Bhairavas. Ultimate, final, the union with the cosmos. Embodiment of the divine union eternally with the concept of Kāmeśvara Ma is what he was able to teach us. It is a blessing for each sadhakas that we seek for not separation, but the wholeness of the consciousness. If you see separation, trust me, male, female, or if you see the Devi and Devata Swarupa, we cannot go into something called as in consciousness where liberation of knowledge can also ever happen. This is why even today, when the name of the Kāmeśvara Bhairava is uttered, it is a sadhakas invoke both the fierce sovereigns of the Bhairava and the sweetness radiance of the Mahā Tripurasundarī is inseparable like fire and the flame. So when it comes to the Shri Chakra Aradhana, it doesn't mean that actually you are only doing a Aradhana of the particular Devi. Entire cosmos, Devata, Bhairava, Shiva, Shakti, Shiva as well as Shakti. Entire, when it comes to the Tantra, this yantra has been considered as the Maha Yantra. Once you start performing the Aradhana to the Shri Chakra yantra, it is like you are invoking Kāmeśvara Bhairava, you are invoking Mahā Tripurasundarī, you are invoking all the Dashamaha Bhairavas, you are invoking all Dashamaha Vidyas. So maybe with that note, I'll take a pause today. We'll come back with one more Ishtartha information about our Guru Bhairava, talking more about him, where we try to understand him one step closer as whatever we know him 1 minute before. Here, whatever the information has been shared, trust me, this information is all about to surrendering to his lotus feet. So let's listen this story once again, because this is one of the last episode when it comes to the Dashamaha Bhairavas information. So try to listen once more. You'll be able to always Shravana, it not to be logically being seen. Do a Shravana. Think how beautifully Kāmeśvara Bhairava, the Vatsyāyana, was able to activate Shri Chakra yantra. He was able to download those information. How he was able to perform the union of the creator in that particular yantra. It need to be understood. With that note, Namaskaram. Om Bhairavaya Namaha. Om Kamakhya Namaha. Om Hingulambikaya Namaha. Om Kalakalaya Vidmahe Kalatitaya Dhimahi Tannah Kala Bhairava Prachodayat. Om Hingule Paramahingule Amrita Rupini Tanashakti Manashva Shringulaya Namaha.